Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for clicking and spending more of your valuable time at home with us.
Yes. This is our round 2 attempt. Still haven't gotten streaming up. Apparently YouTube has rules around verification and when you can actually access the streaming, so we'll see what happens.
Which led to a very frustrating day of being hangry for me. Hopefully you guys will cheer me up a little bit.
Not for me.
So this past week it's been a bit same but different. My level of motivation to get up and be creative / productive was only superseded by my will to sit on the couch and binge watch 2 seasons of originals. But you know what it's like, Clav? You know when you find money in the pocket of your pants that you haven't worn for like 5 years?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel when I thought that a series had actually ended and then you find out there's 2 whole seasons you haven't watched. It's amazing. Yeah.
This past week, or in the past few days, well, in South Africa in general, we've moved from a level 5 lockdown.
4.
Yeah. And 4 means some more people can go to work, but also you can now walk your dog and walk around the neighborhood.
And you can buy all the stuff that was in the shop already that they covered up that you couldn't buy last week.
Except for toys and that, because that's
you're still not allowed to buy toys?
Yeah.
Oh.
But other electronics and stuff you can get, like a blender or a microwave, or if you needed it.
It's weird.
So the interesting thing with that shift is now the window is 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So people were sleeping in and doing all kinds of funny things, and it's like the whole family now has to go out between 6 and 9 every day.
Go away.
And obviously for everyone who has pets or animals, those animals are now being wound up between 6 and 9 a.m. every day.
And all the other people's animals as well, hey?
Oh yeah. So as they go around the neighborhood, we can hear them as the dogs bark between 6 and 9. But we did see something interesting today. A couple in their jogging attire at 11 o'clock, taking a nice little stroll around the neighborhood.
Next to when I found the popo.
But they didn't have their masks on.
Or a shopping bag.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So, yeah.
The defiance.
Melissa made these. There's this one, but I don't know. She also made a black one and a...
Yeah, it looks like a... Well, what is that? League of Shadows mask?
Yeah.
It's got a little...
League of Assassins.
Yeah. I don't know. It's got a little beak on it and goes under the eyes.
Oh, it is League of Shadows, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
I think.
So these are our go out and explore the world masks. She made it with a little pouch in here. So we've taken our, what would be a normal filter mask, and well, yeah, it was a dust mask, and then just slotted it in. So now there's 4 layers in here.
Extra safe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. So now, as you can see, I've also taken it upon myself to fix my hair. You can think of it what you will.
Call back to the last episode where we discussed what's happening.
Yeah, no, all the women of South Africa were super angry this week because our Minister of Health, she gave us permission to fix our own hair and do our own nails. I can't even remember how to pluck my own eyebrow. I haven't done it in such a long time by myself that, yeah. So anyway, thank you for that permission. I don't know if you did the right thing there. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so that was... Yeah, so it was a reasonable week. Yeah, and our first video took forever to edit. Because it looks like if you don't stream immediately, you end up with this gigantic file and you have to figure it out. So Yeah.
Which isn't great for like amateurs like us, but anyway, we'll get there. One
Yeah.
day we'll be brave enough to stream live.
Yes, probably directly off our phones because apparently that's the easiest.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question now. You remember what a McFlurry is, right?
Something to do with ice cream.
Side note, one day I asked Clive to go through the drive-thru and I told him, he always asks me what he wants. So I told him what I want to order and I said a McFluffy. I knew it was McFlurry. So anyway, this big man drives up to the window and he says, I'll have a chocolate Oreo McFluffy. And the lady's like, okay. That's so cute. But anyway, you know what the spoon is shaped like?
Yeah, there's that
It's got a
curve,
little hollow.
and then the back end is almost like what would have been like a prism type
Yeah, okay.
cylinder, but
so
it's square.
what is that hole for? Do you know?
On the back of it?
Yeah.
No.
What do you think most people think it is for?
I don't know, because it has a little clip thingy at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'd assume it's to attach to something or link to something.
That's because you're you. Most people think that's a straw. And they've
Oh.
been trying to get to the bottom of their McFlurry with that spoon forever.
Mm-hmm.
And a very kind worker made a TikTok video in America.
Okay.
And she showed us all what that is for. It actually fits perfectly onto the nozzle of the ice cream machine.
Yes.
So when the ice cream pours in, it's supposed to mix it up like that. So that's what that's for. I was 2 years old when I learned that.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's pretty good. What you got for me?
So I get news from weird places because of what I follow. So apparently I don't know if this is going to be for those who love to follow what's happening in the stratosphere or the outer atmosphere. On May 16th, Venus and Jupiter are going to appear above a crescent moon. And the shape of it is going to be these two dots with a crescent moon at the bottom. So it's actually going to be a smiley face in space. So that's going to happen on the 16th of May. I don't know which areas you'll be able to see it from or like angles. Because I don't know if everyone will experience it at night or certain people will get a better view at night than others. So that's something to look out for, that people can look into the night sky on May the 16th and take a photo of the sky smiling down at them during the time of COVID. So that will hopefully be uplifting for everybody.
That's cool. Yeah. So you know how children either want to be exactly like their parents or the total opposite of them?
Yeah.
So the same is true for Christopher Reeve, you know, old Superman.
Yes.
His son.
The late Christopher Reeve.
Ironically, yeah, but we all know who that is. So his son is actually a reporter working from home.
His son is a reporter, and the father played Clark Kent, who was a fake, who was a reporter while being Superman. Okay.
Yeah, the plot thickens.
He's treading a bit close.
Oh, you're so funny.
He unfortunately committed the classic work from home faux pas when he went to work remotely
Yes.
from his home on his cell phone, like we are right now, and was not wearing any pants. So when the banner thing at the bottom of the screen disappeared after the broadcast,
Yeah.
it was a nice thrill for the audience to learn that while Superman wore his undies on the outside of his pants, his son decided not to wear any at all.
Oh,
So,
goodness.
no, but anyway, everybody had a good laugh, and he told everybody that he had actually shorty shorts on underneath. It wasn't that he was wearing no underpants, he just didn't have longs on.
Oh, okay. So his shirt was like covering and it looked like he wasn't wearing any underwear.
Yeah, and he was going to go exercise straight after the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everybody working from home, thank you for the entertaining Zoom video.
Check your pants.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else is there that has happened or is happening?
I don't know. I'm not a current affairs buff like you are. But I did come across something interesting the other day. What I came across the other day was when I said to you the Mandela effect, you were quite confused.
No, I wasn't confused. Okay. I've been told that this Mandela, the Mandela effect, is not remembering, well, it's sort of like adding your own facts or skewed or having a skewed memory of an event that happened. But my confusion was who researched it, and is this an exclusively South African thing, and that's why they're calling it the Mandela effect, and so South Africans did research and then that's how it became the Mandela effect, or did around the time that Mandela was released, did people do research overseas and happily decide, oh, I'm going to name this after Mandela because I like Mandela, and now it's called the Mandela effect.
So you're going to be educated now in this matter.
Okay.
The name Mandela effect began when it was first coined in 2009 by someone called Fiona Broom.
Where's she from?
She published a website detailing her observance of the phenomenon. Okay. Broom was at a conference talking with other people about how she remembered the tragedy of former South African President Nelson Mandela's death in South Africa in a prison in the 1980s.
The death of his
Yes.
in the prison in the 80s.
In fact, Nelson Mandela did not die in the 1980s in the prison. As we well know, he was our president and he passed away in 2013. As a very old man. So she began to talk to other people about her memories and she learned that she was not alone. Other people remembered also seeing news coverage of his death as well as a speech by his widow.
Okay.
So this woman was shocked that such a large mass of people could remember the same identical event in such detail when it never happened. So encouraged by her book publisher, she began to discuss what she coined the Mandela effect and other incidents like it. So one of these, I'm just going to give you some examples.
Yeah.
In Star Wars, which I know you didn't, you weren't like a Star Wars buff growing up, you watched them recently and you watched them in the order that they were supposed to go in thematically.
Yes.
It was interesting. So what does Darth Vader say to Luke when the big reveal happens?
I don't know, Luke.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, eventually.
And what does he say?
I can't remember him actually saying the exact words, I am your father.
Okay. That's
Because
interesting.
when I watched it, it was like everyone says that he said, Luke, I'm your father, and I sat there and I didn't hear it. Like exactly like that, and so I was confused as to where it came from.
Everybody would swear that he says, Luke, I'm your father. There's even that Trevor Noah joke.
Yes.
Right? But he actually says, no, I am your father. So
Oh,
he doesn't say Luke.
K-N-O-W.
No. N-O.
Were they having a discussion about someone else being his father?
I can't remember, but it's just interesting. And then, in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, so what does the evil queen say when she looks in the mirror?
Magic mirror.
So you remember magic mirror on the wall.
Yes.
That's interesting because I remember mirror, mirror on the wall.
What's the correct one?
Magic mirror on the wall, but I don't remember ever hearing that.
No, well, that's different because she says magic mirror.
Yeah.
And then other movies that like copied that that sentiment
Yeah.
always said mirror, mirror.
Yeah.
And then when it was taken into TV series and things like that, when people made the comment, they always said mirror, mirror. So then it makes you think that it's mirror, mirror.
So that's one of the explanations. So they've got two, obviously. So one is alternate realities. So one theory about the basis of the Mandela effect originates from quantum physics and relates to the idea that rather than one timeline of events, it is
So
possible
we are experiencing
to
parallel timelines. Or people from other timelines entering this timeline and influencing it?
don't know.
Or we, through sleep and other things, swapping between universes?
There's people that have their theories of obviously and
Wait, so all of this
proposing
came
a
from a
rupture.
woman who thought Mandela died in prison?
Yeah, well, not just her. There were a group of people who confirmed that that is what they.
Or all
Yeah.
these people, do they also believe that the earth is flat?
That's the thing. So they.
No, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Because the world.
They're not all flat earthers.
Okay.
But yeah. So they believe that it could be a rupture of the continuum of space-time and other similar conspiracy theories.
Okay.
But you're not alone if you think this sounds a little unrealistic. It's, it can't be proven either way. It doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah. But the other theory is that it's more likely false memories. So before we consider what's meant by false memories, let's look at an example of the Mandela effect that will help us to understand how memory can be faulty.
Okay.
So like you were saying, you don't remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison.
Yes.
Okay. But do you remember Steve Biko?
I wasn't into it. I heard about him.
But-
So I
but
didn't
you-
witness anything
You
or
know
see
that
the
they were
news.
at the same time. They were both highly political figures. One died and one lived.
What I could remember was Steve Biko kept getting mentioned in a certain context, and Mandela was sort of the symbol. So they were spoken about almost interchangeably around the same time.
So do you remember his funeral being televised?
No, I remember photos from the funeral. So I don't know if it was like a news report and there was a photo, or it was in the Witness, well, our newspaper in KZN, Natal Witness. I don't know if it was in there and there were photos. So I remember an image and then talking about it, but I don't remember like a stream like they did for everyone else. Why?
No, because it's totally weird. Like for me, they say he died in the 1980s, but I remember Steve Biko dying in the 90s, and I remember it being televised. Like I remember.
Oh, okay.
It's really strange.
Yeah,
So anyway,
that's interesting.
it could just be false memories. It could be things we don't know about. Really interesting though.
But-
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I wonder, what does her research say? I wonder how detailed her research is in terms of like what's the trigger or the effect of the false memory? Like, is a false memory stronger if it's reinforced?
Well, definitely. That's what they say. If I make a mistake, I pass it on to you. It's something catchy.
Yeah.
You sing it a lot. You influence somebody else. You fortify that false memory.
Okay.
It becomes popular based on that, and then you're all amazed at how it doesn't sound like the original. It's like broken telephone, right?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what I believe about that.
Mandela.
But
So
it's
she
interesting.
published a book and or
There's
published a
other-
paper.
Yeah, but there's other things. Like, do you remember in the 1980s or early 90s actually, that there was a movie, Shazam,
1980s.
or early 90s? Do you remember who was in that movie?
Was there a movie with Shaquille O'Neal?
Okay. So you don't remember like a Sinbad character?
Oh, wait. Was it Shaquille O'Neal or was it Sinbad? I know. Now, when you're saying Sinbad, I'm thinking of Sinbad the comedian.
Yes,
The
that's
like
right.
tallish guy with the lighter hair.
Yes, that's him.
I can't remember if it was him or Shaquille O'Neal. Because Shaquille O'Neal was in a movie. Because I can remember it being blue as opposed to the regular Shazam. Well, this other Shazam, which is yellow. So, which one was in it?
So Shaquille O'Neal was in a movie called Kazam.
Kazam.
Yeah,
There we
in
go.
the 90s.
Ah, there we go.
90s. And there are a group of people that will swear, they'll bet money on it, that there was a movie in the 1980s or early 1990s with Sinbad, and it was called Shazam. But there's no such movie. I myself have a memory of this. I'm sure I've watched this. It's really strange.
But what movie was Sinbad in? Because I remember watching him
I don't
on. Let's do.
Let's do a fact check. Yeah.
Oh, he was a genie. Yes.
Yeah. He was a genie or something like that. Do you
Now I
remember that?
remember. No, I remember that he was a genie. I'll tell you what movie that is. As we all do, IMDb, because IMDb has all of the answers
Yeah.
for anything that you're looking for. So, goodness, this man had so many movies.
So I just saw something. I haven't looked at it yet, but it says Shazam is real. We found Shazam's genie movie.
It's just easier. Yes. Oh, he's 6'4", 1.92. Why do they keep talking about? Why does he keep talking about how tall he is?
I don't know. I can't.
He's 1.92. I'm 1.93.
Yeah. Well, you are quite tall. I mean, it's not like you're short.
No, but the way, look at the way you look at his images and like he's towering over people, and I don't think.
Maybe the average height, like I'm average height, and you are towering over me. So.
Nah, it's
Yep.
still he's in America. There's a lot of tall guys in basketball in that there.
Tall guys and basketballs.
Yes, with basketball.
With basketball.
Um.
Yeah, no, there is definitely a genie movie with him.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called though.
Okay, here's all of his movies: The Adequate, Necessary Roughness, Coneheads, The Meteor Man, House Guest, Homeward Bound, First Kid, Jingle All the Way. I remember that one. Him being in that one. Cherokee Kid, Good Burger. That was in '97. Then it was Ready to Run, Blue Shirts, Crazy as Hell, Hansel and Gretel, Treading Water, Stomping, Cutting the Mustard, and Planes in 2013. In television, he did Cosby Show, Different World, and obviously Sinbad, which was his thing. Happily Never After, Vibe, Cosby Again, Moesha, Girlfriends, Resurrection Boulevard, Slacker Cats, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Family Guy, Are We There Yet, Eric and Andre, American Dad, Steven Universe, Comedy Bang Bang, Lionheart, and Rel. So there's no. I'm sure he was a genie in the movie.
This movie is legitimate.
Maybe it was one of those, like we got those SABC movies.
Yeah.
Or like it didn't go to cinema, it went straight to DVD.
No, but I watched this movie. So it went to a...
It did go to cinema.
No. It went to a cassette at my local video store.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. It must have been like a straight to...
But then why are people saying that they don't remember it?
I think the problem is though that we have... So people don't remember smaller movies, they remember blockbusters. So that thing that we were watching, it's not the 100 or something 100. It's a show on Netflix where they're testing different things in terms of groups of people. and how you can influence memories and stuff. It depends on.
Oh, that 100 people experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh no, that thing's terrifying, eh?
so if it's visual, smell, see if the more senses are included, and the more emotions are included, the more solid the memory. So if a group of people experience something together, they have a stronger connection to that thing. And if someone experiences it on their own, the person who experiences it on their own is more likely to have that memory influenced. But someone who experiences it in a group, anyway.
That's true though.
So maybe the Shazam thing was like a certain age group. Yeah, it was a certain age group that had it, and it was like on TV or whatever. So just a certain generation remembers watching this thing together and going to school and talking about it, and then it's locked in, but the thing almost doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's weird though, huh? Anyway, I won't let it keep me up at night. But
So what was interesting is what trended in South Africa on Twitter, because South Africa is very busy on Twitter apparently, even though they're busy with TikToks. Twitter's keeping them occupied. So the things that trended are Gareth Cliff, Madagascar Cure,
what?
days 30, the days of lockdown and lockdown level 4, football goes retro, and Casper finally retires. Now,
Casper who?
right, so some of these things are a bit disconnected and other things are quite clever. So Gareth Cliff, the reason that he trended is Gareth Cliff was out of things and in other things, and I don't know if he won his case and he's going to be an idol judge again, or he just won his case and then he's not going to do idols. Anyway, he made something called Dear Mr. President, and he released it on his podcast, and apparently the Gareth Cliff stalwarts that are following him kept really enjoyed this thing, and then they kept sharing it. So I'm going to read it so that you know what it is. So it's Dear Mr. President. Dear President Ramaphosa, I'm going to keep this brief, because I know you are dealing with a lot. We've all been ready to support you and your administration in your efforts to save lives from this pandemic. Even people like me who have questioned the idea of a lockdown as the best response have decided to comply and do whatever we could to help. We set aside our concerns over the heavy-handedness of the police and the army. We swallowed and accepted that poor people in informal housings would be cramped into their one-room dwellings for a month. We limited our trips to the shops and even accepted not being able to buy hot food for whatever inexplicable reason. When you couldn't put your mask on, we laughed, and we were charmed to see that you were able to laugh at yourself too. For a time, you won everyone over again. You yourself have said that it has taken much for people to give up their liberties, their right to be with families and friends, and the ability to move freely around. Our patience and emotional state of affairs are now on a knife's edge. We are losing hope. Government walks a fine line sometimes in times like this, where the regulations not only have to make sense, but also have to have significant buy-in from the public. Otherwise, people will break them in big ways and small. South Africans are mostly compliant, but when you promise something and then break the promise, it makes us feel like we should break your regulations in return. Many of us aren't afraid of the virus anymore. It's our health, and we'll take our chances. Thank you. We are afraid of the havoc your lockdown is wreaking on the economy, on people's lives and livelihoods. I see fewer and fewer explanations from ministers and more capricious some would say spiteful regulations. I'm not a smoker. I don't like cigarettes at all. But when Minister Dlamini Zuma announced that she was, after consultation, none of us believe happened, going to keep the ban on tobacco products in place, many of us, even the non-smokers, were ready to give her the middle finger and start risk breaking the rules. There are more of us than there are police officers and soldiers. Right. So if you peeve enough people off, things are going to get hairy. So this is a very strange turn in what he's saying, because it started off as an explanation of the unfolding of things, and now he's saying
Yeah, he started off well.
there's more of us than there are of you.
That's where you lost me, Karen. No.
I'm sure those advisors in the security cluster have mentioned that they can't shoot us all or put us all in jail.
Woo!
Right. Your government, sir, have not covered themselves in glory over the last 10 years. Now it's going in a different direction, because we're no longer focusing on the pandemic. We're now
getting a little right wing now.
we're going back. Some people in this country already have a taste of anarchy, where municipalities are bankrupt and there is no service delivery. They see no evidence that now it's about the political party. The ANC will fix parastatals. By parastatals in South Africa, we have Eskom, which government sort of has shares in. What was our biggest telecommunications network, or still, we have Telkom. And then we have SAA, our national airline. So government was part of all of those. Just so that you have background, in other countries, there are things where government will subsidize things. So like telecommunications and that, for it to grow and spread, government will subsidize. But in our country, our government actually owned shares in that thing and keep bailing them out whenever they fail. So these are the parastatals that are these are the type of parastatals that are being referred to. There's no evidence that the ANC will fix parastatals. Cronyism. What's the legal term for cronyism?
I don't know, like
And then when you put your family member in?
nepotism.
Nepotism, yeah. Kleptocracy.
Wow.
Using interesting words. And for once and for all, cease their childish flirtation with outdated, failed socialist ideas. Your hold on power depends on people willing to comply with the rules, the same rules they expect you to comply with. Our patience grows thin, and in tandem, your tax collection runs dry. So now he's gone through his whole story, and now he's coming back to the impact of...
Because you got to hit them in the wallet. Clive.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's saying now you're not going to get any funds because you're not going to get any tax. So when you speak of the social impact, it goes both ways. You have to take the boot off our throats. Very aggressive language. Now we're going to the Bible. When Moses told Pharaoh to let his people go, Pharaoh didn't listen and there were plagues.
For cigarettes and alcohol. Clive.
Right? We all know how that story went for Pharaoh. So this is almost like a threat. You have to start letting your people go, Mr. President, or this plague will be the least of our worries.
He
Even Moses could tell us that.
Other countries are also having a lockdown, hey?
Right.
Yeah.
Yours, and then he signs it at the bottom. So this was his thing that he released. So obviously, South Africans are now... there's always going to be the sort of underlying race thing. But now we have race, and then we have the economic disparities. And this comment obviously sat well with a certain collective of people and people who share in what he's thinking, but then there was also people who were against some of the phrasing in this, and because they were against some of the phrasing, they decided to reject the whole thing, because humans don't look at things in isolation, like, oh, that part makes sense, oh, I don't agree with that section. So this was almost the number one trending for a little bit during last week, because it was semi-divisive. And so that was what was trending. So it's something that touched a little bit on race and socioeconomics and the COVID thing. So that stirred a lot of people.
Now would be a great time to talk about the sponsors that these two idiots don't have. So if there's any sponsors out there that would like to sponsor these two idiots, please feel free to slide into my DMs. Sassy dog out.
In the midst of that trending, we discovered that hashtag Madagascar cure was trending from up Africa down to here because officials in Madagascar are adamant that they have a herbal solution to the current global health crisis.
Will they be selling on a Verimark?
They've managed to sell their first batch. The first batch, the label says CVO. So what's happened now is other African countries are now mass ordering this
Okay, but has
this
it
cure.
been tested?
Right. Here's the story. Government spokesperson for Senegal told the public broadcaster that Senegal was ready to test the miracle product, officially known as CVO. Right? So Senegal already has one of the best recovery rates on the planet. As almost 300 people have recovered from the disease already, only 671 were infected.
Wow.
Now Senegal's president, remember that section was also where the slaves were taken from, those taller people, and they were boated out to the US. Now Senegal's president has confirmed that the first batch of herbal infusion will arrive next week. So this is why it was trending now.
So it's like a tea.
Sort of, it's like think of it like a Lipton
Like an
iced tea. Right? So South Africans are curious about this because our African cousins and brothers are all the rave about this thing that came from Madagascar. Now Senegal's president, but in Madagascar, Madagascar leads the way in their recovery. The island nation had 124 cases, and this is amongst their 27 million citizens.
Wow, that's not anything.
They've had no deaths
Wow.
reported as yet, and this has now become a public relations boost for this tea. So what is this tea? Right. This tea is a tonic derived from a plant that is proven to be effective in treating malaria. It's Artemisia, so Artemisia. It's locally brewed and made up of, and they add additional herbs to balance it out. They developed it in the Madagascar Institute of Applied Research. Okay? But no one has been tested internationally. And the World Health Organization, obviously because of their stance, isn't entertaining herbal remedies. They want try to test the things. Okay. The dosage...
That's probably actually a better thing though, because if it's herbal, it doesn't need to go through the...
Yeah, but also because herbal things don't go through...
the regulation committee, then...
Well, it will help it spread, but something herbal, because it's not tested with the control group and going through all of those things, the side effects are always unknown. So you could take a herbal thing that will kill you.
I guess, but I mean, herbal stuff very rarely
Well,
will kill you.
depends. So, so who has their reservations? But Senegal is going to be the, WHO, the World Health Organization. Who? What in years of who?
Yeah.
But apparently Africa is going to be ahead of America. So at least Africa has this tea instead of America's president chatting about
Inject yourself with disinfectant.
UV light and injecting yourself with
No, we won't.
disinfection.
I'll take the tea first, I think.
Okay, so those were the top two things that were trending. The next thing that trended was obviously the lockdown. People are excited about being in level 4 they're taking photos and everything about their level 4 experiences. So
I went to buy a blanket. Woo.
they're very excited because clothing stores are sort of open. I'm not sure if only winter clothing is being sold
Well,
or
the clothing stores that I've seen, I've done a lot of online clothing research. It looks like anything that is classified as pajamas, underwear, winter jerseys and jackets, and shoes. Shoes in terms of like tackies and slippers and stuff. That's allowed. But then on
no sundresses.
No, it depends. Like there's some clothes there that are they have a tick next to them if you can buy them in level 4, and then not to shy away from internet traffic, a lot of the online places are saying this will be available in level 3, this will be available in level 2, so you can click and pay for it now.
Oh,
but
and get it in that level.
Send it to you then,
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting.
Well, the next thing that trended was football goes retro, and the reason is so what's happening now across the world is people are in a sports desert.
Yeah.
And anything to do with sport is trending.
Yeah.
So the bigger thing that's happening with American sport is because of GOAT, greatest of all time, GOAT. Their thing between people saying Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time and now LeBron James, this is in basketball in America. Netflix has a documentary on the Chicago Bulls, well, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. And as the episodes are released, people who had, obviously the sports broadcasters and commentators, all sitting at home, nothing to comment on, now they're phoning in people that were in the documentary and are like, oh, what did you think of what was released last night and what Jordan said about you and what Jordan said about your team? And so now that's become the new thing because there are no sports currently happening.
Do you think that's fair though? To call somebody up years after they'd said something?
Well, I think what's happening now is everybody's, because it's so dire out there for news, all these people are getting are getting a spotlight, which
So
they wouldn't have gotten previously.
It's an opportunity to stay relevant, so
Yes.
they take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's now the weird thing that's happening is like Jordan's comments about Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons that walked out after they beat them.
Yeah,
And
that was rough, eh? But they said that they maintained that at the time
other people did it to them, so it wasn't a big deal.
So it was normal for them.
And then Jordan, they all know, obviously even Isaiah Thomas must have watched the documentary and he saw that Jordan said that he won't believe anything he says because at the time he would have felt differently.
Yeah.
And now he's had time to reflect and he's going to have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so that's America that's having that at the moment, even though we get to see the documentary in South Africa as well. So SABC had broadcasted something looking back on soccer in South Africa like many years ago, and people were saying, if these guys were allowed to play years ago, we would have had a strong Bafana.
What, like unsung heroes?
Well, sort of. It was a documentary of soccer many years ago. So in the, I don't know if it was in the...
Like community teams or...
No, actual, but they weren't allowed to compete at the national level because of apartheid.
Oh, okay.
But what's interesting was there were even teams that had white players in them.
Oh.
In the soccer teams, but soccer teams were never allowed to play
No,
nationally.
Like unofficial leagues.
Well, it was a league, but the government of the day is not recognizing
Not
it.
recognized, okay.
But they have this footage and that from the matches, and they spoke to the people. So we have had our own documentary. People were very happy that SABC aired this. It was on SABC 1 at like 2 o'clock. And so that trended Football Goes Retro because obviously South Africans are also now itchy for sport. And they watched the documentary and they were happy to go down memory lane and experience all of that and also get insights into things that they didn't know about.
That's a pretty good idea when there's nothing current happening.
Yes.
To just the opportunity to look back.
Please, SABC, do not replay all of the comrades ever. We do not have 12 and a half hours a day. That's my plea. Please, please don't.
No, I don't think you should have put that out there. Take it back.
No,
No,
well, okay.
That's a crazy idea. No, thank you.
Yeah, don't need that happening.
So you said Casper retires. Is
Right.
this the ghost Casper?
Okay, so there's a singer.
Okay.
This is the most comical thing because I saw this Twitter thing and I'm like, ah, shame. So we have this singer in South Africa, Casper, performer, Casper, as opposed to the other one. What's that guy's name? That Afrikaans guy?
Like I'm waiting to hear whether it was in your vest or.
No. So this is Casper. What's his name? Oh goodness, I don't even know his surname. But he's a gospel singer. Casper. Oh. Anyway, we know him as Casper. Oh, in your vest.
That's what I just said.
Not in your vest.
In
In
your
your vest. Right. So not the comedian. Anyway, so what happened?
I have my old boss.
Well, he's got the same color scheme
Yeah.
outfit
Yeah.
and the same facial hair design.
Yeah.
Not the same spectacles
That's
though.
how I know who he is.
Right. So he released a song and being an internet troll is global. So he released a song. And after the premiere of his music video, people in South Africa decided to... people are horrible. They decided to hashtag Casper finally retires. Now, obviously people are going to go and try to figure out what is going on. And they're like, ah, shame. It's good that he stepped away. But they were actually saying that because they think that his music video was so bad that he needs to retire. So they just decided to hashtag that he's finally retired.
This is so cruel. But funny.
But what's happened is there's a split with people who were confused because they support him and they enjoy his music and they're like, ah, shame. And then people coming out and being like, oh, Casper, you've done so well over the years. We're sorry to hear that you've now retired. But none of that actually happened. Just these trolls decided to say hashtag.
Is this cancel culture?
Yes. So they were just saying to him, be gone.
Be gone. Hashtag over.
They're done with him now. So quite comical, but that's what was was trending in South Africa this year.
People are just mean. Jeez.
Yeah. People love to hashtag everything.
Mm-hmm.
And just so that you're aware of what are the top trending hashtags on Instagram.
So I can use them for my SEO tactics.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So hashtag love,
I put that on.
always there. Mm-hmm. Instagood, always there. Photo of the day, always there. Fashion, always there. Beautiful, happy, cute, TBT, like for like, follow me, pick of the day, hashtag follow, hashtag me, hashtag selfie, hashtag summer, hashtag Insta daily, hashtag girl, style, fun, smile, and food.
These are very feminine hashtags.
Yes. So those are the top and most popular ones. So if you want to trend with the rest, you can use those hashtags and you will get your stuff out there.
Well, it looks like love has 571,568,251 posts. And I said that because I'm from South Africa. We do numbers good here.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about being from South Africa and doing numbers good here. I thought we'd play a round of 30 seconds. What do you think?
Okay, how's this version gonna work?
Are you ready? This version, it's going to be a running game. Okay, so we're going to keep tally of how many you get right. So in this episode, I'll ask you the questions. And next episode, you'll ask me the questions. And at the end of the season, whoever has the most points has to give the other one, what will it be?
We'll figure it out later on. Let's not make rules at the outset.
Maybe we'll have to buy our number one subscriber or like our 100th subscriber something and send it to them. So the loser has to do that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. All right, so hit subscribe. It's 100. I won't have to buy anything.
Yeah. If you don't yeah.
Give me a 30-second timer. Okay, cool.
Wait, where are you gonna get it from?
Put it in post. I don't know.
Wait, let me do it.
Okay.
Let's rely on our old friend Apple.
Oh, Apple. Hi.
Okay.
She's an actress, and she was in The Sweetest Thing and Day and Night.
Cameron Diaz.
Yes. Okay. They call it the Big Apple.
New York.
Say it twice.
New York.
Mm-hmm. It's an island. It sounds like the camera brand. It's 2 syllables.
Okay. Next.
Okay. Married to Homer.
Marge.
What's her full name?
Marge Simpson.
Is the time.
Time, yeah.
Okay. So the one you missed was Fiji. It sounds like Fuji.
Oh.
And the one.
Why didn't you say Pacific Islanders?
I should have. Sorry, my bad.
And then I would have gone through all of
I'm
it.
not actually sure how the scoring works. If I am a terrible question asker, then
No, I'm just saying. We
yeah.
can remember
But
for next
anyway,
time.
you got 3 out of 5. That's pretty good. Well, 3 out of the 4 that was asked.
Oh, okay.
Pretty good, yeah.
Okay, so thank you for joining us again. Hopefully, in a week or 2, there will be another episode, and we will focus on other things and other spaces.
Wish us luck.
And hit that subscribe link, and then the little bell notification, and then you'll be told when another video is available.
So we're gonna play them out with this TikTok.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, at the end of this video, we found an interesting TikTok, and you'll be able to watch it at the end. So, until next time,
Bye.
goodbye.
Sorry, mate, are you from South Africa? My mate over here thinks that South Africans say gas station. But I know that you say petrol station. So which one is it?
Garage.